Oh no, not a Russell. The latest drama coming out in the NFL, this time Russell Wilson, of course. Him and his agent not demanding a trade out of Seattle. He wants to play with the Seahawks next season, but if a trade were considered, the only teams he would have on his list, the Dallas Cowboys, New Orleans Saints, Las Vegas Raiders, and Chicago Bears. So cue the young and the restless music because we have a soap opera on our hands. So let's break down the climate around QBs this offseason. So Russell, just mentioned there, wants to stay with the Seahawks. If not, he has 4 teams on that list. Deshaun Watson met with David Culley, still wants out. Then how about Ben Roethlisberger? The Steelers want him back, but they need to rework that contract. A little too much money in the bag for him. Dak Prescott, the saga's been going on for 1, 2, almost 3 years now. Still waiting on a long-term deal. And what about Drew Brees? Still waiting to see if he's going to come back or retire and call it a career out there in New Orleans. All right, JLC, it's time for you to be Dr. Drew and break down this soap opera for us. We have here Wilson throwing the recent wrench in the QB world, surprised by all this drama this offseason. I can't think of a time that we've had this type of QB drama in the offseason.
Yeah, it does seem like we've entered in recent years some new territory in terms of NFL players, not just quarterbacks, kind of finding their voice, making it be known publicly and privately what their wishes and in some cases demands are, and then in many cases having it fulfilled. I would say this is not all that different than what J.J. Watt recently did with the Houston Texans as well to kind of get himself out of there. Now, he's a little later in his career than some of these other guys, but, you know, not all that much unlike a Ben Roethlisberger or a Drew Brees at this stage of their careers. I think teams are going to have to get used to this. We saw Peyton Manning get free agency late in his career, use it to his advantage, get another ring. We've seen Tom Brady last year call his shot like Babe Ruth, pick point to where he wants to go. He goes there. He gets another ring. This is not going unnoticed. This is a trend that isn't going to stop. There are some other factors at play in some of these situations with Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson as well. But I would tell NFL fans, get used to it. This is the new normal.
All right, let's take a look at Russell Wilson. You actually reported on some of those landing places a few weeks ago, possibly for him next season. The fact that he has a list now, some potential deals out there for him in Seattle in the future?
Yeah, I mean, he had a list back at the Super Bowl. There was about 6 teams at the time that I reported on that he had talked about with his representatives, that he had talked about with his wife, Sierra, and locations that they would at least listen to. Now, it's been whittled down a little bit, but I would also say, look, if the Miami Dolphins put together an incredible deal, and I guess they're not allegedly on this list of 4, but I can tell you with absolute veracity that Russell Wilson has discussed the Dolphins in the last few months with his agent, with his wife. If they put together a deal that knocked Seattle's socks off and they restructured his contract and they had permission to speak to Russell Wilson and they laid out a plan to win Super Bowls, plural, I would say I wouldn't absolutely 100% discount Miami. The teams that I reported on the most and the teams that are at the top of this list and the teams with the most ability to maybe do this, the Raiders and the Saints. Saints have some cap issues, but if they were willing to sort of gut the team a little bit and then rebuild around Russ, he wants to, I should say Russell is enamored by the prospect of playing for someone like a Sean Payton. He feels like the Raiders are pretty close, and he and Gruden have had a relationship that goes back to when Russell was still in college. Dallas has obvious ties for Sierra. She's from that area. I don't know, though, that Dallas is going to move heaven and earth to make this happen, and they obviously, you know, have a situation there that's a little tricky with their current quarterback. But this isn't going to go away. Things have not gotten any better between Russ and the Seahawks since some of this started to leak out late in the playoffs. We'll see where it goes.
You mentioned Cowboys there, 5-1 odds there if he was to land with Big D there.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.